He got his start with $150 and a few shelves of blue jeans bought on the street in New York City. He declared his first bankruptcy at age 25. And then he started his own clothing line and established himself as a classic American brand. And you know, this would be a good story if it just ended there. But for Tommy Hilfiger, it was anything but happily ever after. And Sharon Alfonsi has our report.
His clothes, his look, are uniquely American. They've made Tommy Hilfiger a king of American apparel, as evidenced last night at his star-studded 25th anniversary fashion show and lavish after-party at the Metropolitan Opera House.
We've been seeing his pieces for so long, they've been just a part of our culture at this point.
Tommy, happy 25th anniversary.
But Hilfiger's story, his rise and fall from fashion's good graces, has been as distinctly American as his clothes. Today, Tommy Hilfiger leads a $4 billion fashion empire.
We actually own our own shoe company now, so we wanted to make sure that the shoe looks like a Tommy Hilfiger shoe, red, white, and blue.
But he's seen his way through bankruptcy, a backlash of bad press, and somehow survived a baggy jean and logo era he'd rather forget.
Is there anything that you've designed that you wish you could pull from the atmosphere, bury, and never see again?
Well, as you look back, you know, I probably overdid big logos to an exhausting point in the 90s. I mean, the traffic on Fifth Avenue is incredible.
We visited Hilfiger at his new flagship store on New York's Fifth Avenue.
Should I be rocking this look?
Well, this shows that it's the fall season, it's football season. This is what you should wear to the stadium.
And this is what you should wear when you deal with fashion reviews, right? Fashion critics.
I don't pay attention anymore.
And in his design studio before the big show,
I think this works.
where he is in every detail.
Oh, we've got the stripe money
it's
now.
got the cool details there, like one turn around one. It's got this stripe, which is...
It looks great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's a long way from his humble beginnings in fashion that started in his hometown, Elmira, New York, in the late 60s.
And then when this whole hippie revolution took place, my friends and I wanted to look cool, grow our hair long, wear bell-bottoms. So we decided to open a store with $150 and 20 pairs of jeans.
In under 7 years, Tommy and his friends had 8 stores.
And I thought that this business was so great, it would never stop. And I had a rude awakening, which was my MBA, I guess you could say.
At age 25, Hilfiger declared bankruptcy. Broke, he moved to New York and was working as a freelance designer for Calvin Klein when he was offered a full-time job designing denim for him.
And I then met Mohan Mirjani, and Mohan said, well, you know, don't go to work for Calvin. I will back you. I'll be your partner. And we'll start a company.
Mohan Mirjani, an Indian textile magnate, held the licenses for Gloria Vanderbilt and Coca-Cola clothing.
And I said, fantastic. Let's call it Tommy Hill, because nobody will really be able to pronounce Tommy Hilfiger. So he said, no, 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 go by your real name, because nobody else has the name Tommy Hilfiger. And do you think people can really pronounce Yves Saint Laurent?
And you were how old at that point?
I was 29.
Were you intimidated at all?
Not at all. I was just totally confident and geared up to create my own clothing line that would, in turn, compete with the best.
So confident was Hilfiger and his partner, they created this billboard in New York's Times Square, comparing the virtually unknown Hilfiger to designer greats Ralph Lauren, Perry Ellis, and Calvin Klein.
When you look back at that now, having been through what you've been, would you do that again?
I look at...
Because you got killed for that, right?
I looked at it and I said, oh my God, is this going to make me a laughing stock? And I went with it, and actually it worked. It really worked.
So you do it again?
I would do it again.
With that first line, Hilfiger established himself as a classic American brand.
I love iconic America. I love Hollywood. I love rock and roll. And I wanted to incorporate that inspiration into my design work.
And soon he was an all-American success story. His company was generating $100 million in revenues. But then somehow, somewhere, preppy took a turn.
In 1992, you kind of embraced streetwear. Is that fair to say?
Streetwear was actually embracing me, because my preppy clothes became so popular amongst kids in boarding schools, colleges. All of a sudden, the youth on the street started wearing my athletic-inspired clothes with the big logos.
Soon, the brand was unrecognizable to its core preppy customers, and they weren't the only ones turned off by that logo-saturated look.
2001, New York Times fashion critic writes about your collection. You wanted to get into SUV and run them over a few times.
Listen, when you're a fashion designer, a musician, an artist, you have to accept and realize that criticism is just part of the game.
But that's just mean.
Well, I really believe it was mean. However, I've become friendly with the journalist now, and she felt at that time that the clothing was too stiff, too bright, and looking back, I think she was right.
Hilfiger returned to his preppy roots and expanded them, creating a billion-dollar global brand by selling the idea of American prep to Europe.
And this is our family campaign, showing the quirky but real Hilfiger family.
Right.
The mom, the dad, the dog, the big kids, the little kids.
Hilfiger's own family could fill the pages of a magazine. He has 7 kids. We met the youngest, 1-year-old Sebastian, at the flagship, decked out in the colors that have come to define his father's clothes and his family's story.
The American dream is alive and well, where you can have a dream, you can build a big business starting with nothing. Maybe it's a familiar story, but it is true. It can happen because it happened to me.
I'm Sharon Alfonsi for Nightline in New York.